So yeah, if you heard that, Johnny's just excited about the Chronicle, isn't he? So hello everybody and welcome to Newcastle Fans TV.
Smooth.
This is what happens when you're live. Well, since we're talking about it, Sam's been on the Chronicle and he hasn't shut up about it, has he, Johnny? That's why Johnny's excited.
No, I have shut up about it. It's you pair that haven't shut up about it. It's pathetic, honestly.
Sure about that? I don't think Johnny will agree with you there.
I just mentioned it. I thought, look, I'm open and honest when you know I get booked to do other things and whatnot. It's good. Everything is black and white podcast available to listen to now. It was good. Me and Andrew Musgrove, good times.
Have a look at it. It's on the socials. It's been retweeted and it's on Facebook as well. But yeah, we thought we'll just get together and have a chat about the latest news of Newcastle since it's been fairly quiet since the West Ham game, which was a positive result. Positive performance down in London town. But before we crack on, we are sponsored by OneFootball. Sam, what are you doing?
I'm just checking through all my football apps just to get some of the latest news.
Well, you don't need to. You need the OneFootball app. The OneFootball app sponsors Newcastle Fans TV, and it has all of the latest breaking news, putting loads of articles together. Even Steve Bruce is on there when he's been announced as West Brom manager recently. It's all up to date. The best thing about the app, it pings when there's breaking news. You need it, Sam. Get downloading the OneFootball app. The link is in the description for that.
I'm downloading it now.
He has downloaded and he's absolutely loving it. The fact that Steve Bruce just can't win a game. What have we learned there? But yeah, you can check Steve Bruce and many other managers out on the OneFootball app. Johnny, how are you? We didn't really ask how you were.
I'm fine. I'm just glad to be involved in Everything is Sam and Mullen, the podcast, to be honest. So I'm happy to be invited.
Well, we did have the Lowland Greenwood podcast, you know, and that went a bit tits up.
Sorry. Would you like a pint of bitter for tonight's show?
No, you can have your Guinness. I'm not a fan of that.
I'm surprised he's even on this channel now. He's too big time now, isn't he, Lee? So it's nice to get big guests to come on the show.
The thing is, though, people didn't book me because they think I won't come on. I will. I've go on bigger platforms, to go on smaller ones. I'm happy to, as long as I'm free. We'll get cracking, shall we? We'll get cracking. Jason has said, fantastic appointment, referring to the video title, which we will come on to Dan Ashworth very, very shortly as well. Wolfstone, you're all right, mate. Yes, we are all good. Thank you very much. Welcome to the latest video here on NFTV. You can see our socials on screen there, and you can see the website if you want to find out more about us and what's happening with the world of Newcastle United across the socials. And of course, our members get loads more exclusive videos, including special guests who are coming up very, very shortly. That's all I will want to say. Go on, Sam, you want to say something?
No. You're just forgetting the last little banner there. There you go. That's all for you. 2 shows this week. 2 shows.
Members will find out tonight who they are, or if they haven't already. Like I say, if you can smash the like video, that would be wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. So we're going to just talk about, I guess we'll reflect briefly on the performance from West Ham, because obviously I was on camera a lot and you used to really haven't had to say. So Johnny, coming away from West Ham, you would have took a point regardless, even if you had Trippier, ESM and Wilson, you would have took a point, wouldn't you?
Yeah, before a ball was kicked, I definitely would have taken the points before like seeing the team news, etc. So I thought Newcastle deserved a point. I thought on another day, I think if we were a bit more braver from 75 minutes, I think we could have nicked all 3. I didn't think West Ham played particularly well at all. I think they had little moments, but apart from the goal and Jared Bowen's shot in the first half, I can't really remember Dubravka doing much at all. So I think it's a big compliment to the defence, but it's a point more. I thought from before 3 o'clock, I'm thinking, well, when you look at Watford, who they're playing, look at Norwich, who they're playing, and Burnley, who they're playing, you think, well, it's probably going to be a good point in the end, because I don't see many of them picking up wins. But at one point, I think all 3 of them were winning at one point. So no, it's still a good point. It drags your Everton's still in it. It drags your Leeds back in it, and obviously Brentford's a massive game at the weekend. But yeah, very, very, very impressed with the defensive side of the performance on Saturday.
And Sam, you look at the stats, and sometimes you read too much into them. Newcastle are literally on top of almost every stat, and I think they deserve to be.
Yeah, took the game to West Ham. Really, really pleasing performance. proud of the performance in the way. All of them players on the pitch played for the badge and gave everything, and that's all we ask. Laid it all out there, and you know, every inch of effort was there to be had, and some fantastic individual performances as well. Joe Willock, of course, chief among those, who really did deserve a goal because he's been brilliant for a number of weeks now, and you know, I've defended him on here plenty of times. You know, I've always said this guy's not Kennedy. You know, it was the right decision to sign him on a permanent. He will come good, cracking player. Obviously started the season off slow, but tell me a player that didn't start off slow this season under how we were playing under Steve Bruce. Dan Burn, again, fantastic. That challenge on Bowen at the end was naughty, but it was fantastically hilarious. That was terrific. I mean, you see then if you're on the receiving end of that, but we weren't, so it was very funny. But yeah, scrapped for everything. And again, on another day, whilst you're right, I think, in what you say that you would have taken a point, especially with the late news that ASM was out. It's a great point. 1 point closer to safety, and now attention turn to Brentford on Saturday, which, if we can get another positive result there, will go a real long way to securing survival.
Yeah, we've got quite a few trips down to London and Southampton coming up, so it's going to be a difficult March for Newcastle, without a shadow of a doubt. Newcastle, of course, are 4 points clear. Not all the results went our way, but I think getting a point, regardless of what happened elsewhere, against a team that are flying, is fantastic. And I think it's now where you're talking 6. I'm going to say 7 with the friendly. I like that. Sounds better. 7 games on. I'm going to claim it. I've said it all along. 7 games unbeaten now. And you just mentioned there, Johnny, just before, if you beat Brentford, they've played 2 games more as well. Is that the team you worry? Not us worrying, but is that the team as a neutral you would worry about now? Is it Brentford and Leeds or Everton or all 3 of them?
I think all of them. I have to be honest with you. I think Everton. It's a funny one with Everton because you look at their team on paper, you would think they'll probably have enough to get out of it, especially if they can keep Richarlison, Calvert-Lewin fit from the end of the season. I think they'll have a bit too much, but none of these players have played in a relegation battle. Everton haven't really been involved in relegation battles really in the Premier League era, well, for a number of years anyway. Leeds, it's a funny one. Bielsa, there's always rumours about Bielsa whether he's staying the extra season. He doesn't really do more than 1 year contract. So I think that puts a bit of pressure, unnecessary pressure on Leeds. But again, Bamford hasn't played for God knows how long. Yes, they can still score the odd goal, but defensively they look a bit of a mess. And Brentford have played obviously 2 more games at minimum than everybody else. And that will catch up. I think they've only won 1 of the last 10. So it's a big game. Like, I would even take a point on Saturday just to keep them within touch and distance with the 2 games in hand. And, you know, that run of not winning a game continues. But it was funny, actually. I don't think you would have heard it before kickoff, Lee. I don't know if Sam did, if he was watching the coverage on BT before kickoff. But Chris Wood was doing an interview, and they kind of asked him how many points. We'll move on. But the question was, how many points do you think you need? And obviously, we had 21 points before we kicked off, and they were looking at 14 more points. So they were looking at 35. And I tend to agree. I think 35 points would be enough, but it's interesting because if Watford start picking up form and Burnley start picking up form and whatever, it's only got 4 more wins. But again, I don't know, it's going to be close. It didn't seem a couple of weeks ago this relegation battle was going to be close, or have as many teams, as 6 or 7 teams involved. But now it looks really, really exciting from a neutral point of view. Yeah,
we've lost the same amount of games as Leicester City. It's crazy, that, isn't it? Absolutely bonkers. Crazy.
Yeah.
We'll talk about we'll obviously talk about some off-field news very, very shortly, but we'll stop the sharing facilities. We'll just talk about a couple of performances because there's some outstanding ones, and Joe Willock has been absolutely flying the last few weeks. And this midfield 3, and I know me and Johnny have talked about it outside St James Park. I think Bruno Guimaraes is going to have to wait because that midfield 3 for me is, I wouldn't call them unbreakable, but all 3 of them are performing, and I like that bit of competition. That's what it brings. You talk to Shelby's being a different player for me under Eddie Howe's 7s and 8s every game now. Willock, the last 3 or 4 games, has been 8s, 9s. And then you look at Joe Linton, who's just a revelation there, Sam. So I don't see the need to change that front three.
Not at the moment. I mean, it's nice to have the options there. I think Shelvey has been superb since Eddie Howe came in, and Willock has got, looking like his old self again. Like he was never going to come in and go on a mad run of scoring goals again. But as you say, Joe Linton's turned into prime Patrick Vieira, which is crazy. There's an argument of which one's not the weak link, but who's the most vulnerable to make way for Bruno. I mean, a couple of weeks ago, you'd have said Willock, no-brainer, but now I'm not so sure. For me, it's always been Shelvey. I'm a John Joe fan, always have been, but I think it would be best suited for Bruno to be the centre of the three. I like that Joe Linton now kind of cuts inside on the left. So if Targett's getting forward, if ASM's not tracking back, I was saying on the Everything is Black and White podcast today to Andrew Musgrove, available to listen to now on every good podcast outlet, that it kind of reminded me when me and Johnny interviewed Olivier Bernard on the Greenwood and Mulliner show on Newcastle Fans TV podcast, available on all good podcast outlets. That when he had shameless, I know, when he had Lauren Robert in front of him, obviously Lauren Robert was pretty synonymous for not tracking back, and Ollie Bernard said that he was always looking across for help from Gary Speed to pull across, and I think that's kind of got a similar dynamic now, where Targett can look across at Joe Linton to kind of pull out wide from the midfield three and cover when ASM isn't covering back. There's just a plethora of options now, which wasn't the case. And now with Lascelles coming back fit, Federico Fernandez coming back fit, there's options all over the park. Centre of defence, I mean, who would have thought Jacob Murphy's ahead of Miguel Almiron in the pecking order, which he very much is now.
Yeah, good shout. Eden's gone on to say, Evening Gents, love the 80s tune selection. We are doing something for the members every away vlog, different criteria. It was 80s last weekend, and views picked Roxette, Listen to Your Heart, and that was picked on my vlog. Got good feedback. I was surprised by it. I thought would have got a lot of stick. I wanted Madness to win, actually, personally, myself. But
next week, Slipknot.
I think it's going to be dance or R&B or pop. We'll have a look. We'll see. Johnny likes my tunes. Not so much Mulliners. But we'll look at other people as well. Johnny, how are you, John? You know that? You've been in my car a few times.
I'm talking about Mulliner.
Oh, I was going to can't say that.
Like Mulliner's like...
the heavy rock screaming stuff's not for me.
No, I don't listen to that. I was joking about Slipknot.
You sure?
I think Charlie Mulliner doesn't like his dad's music. From what we heard in the car.
Oh, you're on about Rage Against the Machine. Yeah, I do like a bit of Rage. Yeah, okay.
Matty Targett. Again, I was one of them. I remember saying to you, Johnny. I was like, it doesn't excite me. Doesn't excite me in the 2 games. Well, the 2 out of 3 because he couldn't play against Villa. I think the second game against West Ham because I was worried about Jared Bowen. And apart from the first 15, 20 minutes, I thought you handled them absolutely fantastic, Johnny.
He was brilliant. I've kind of have to be careful because everyone's saying Dan Burn's been so good, Matt Targett's been so good. They've only played a couple of games each. I want to kind of let them have the rest of the season, and then we can kind of make more of a mind. But if you're judging them just on individual performances, considering how well Jared Bowen has played this season, arguably one of the players of the season, considering where West Ham are in the table, I thought he kept him pretty quiet. Only one real chance. It wasn't really down to Matt Targett that he got that chance. It was Jacob Murphy not watching the runway hit the crossbar. Well, Dubravka gets a touch on the crossbar. Really good save. Generally, I thought he kept him pretty quiet. I thought he was steady. I thought, if anything, his crossing was just, if it was just the tiniest bit off in the corners that we did have, he seemed to take the majority of our corners, and I think it was just a little bit more. Because West Ham just seemed to winning every single header, especially in the second half when we had any set pieces. But on the whole, I've been pretty impressed because a lot of Aston Villa fans are saying, well, he doesn't like the pressure. doesn't like the pressure of playing at like Villa Park and Villa Park, St James's Park too, big arenas. Can he cope with the demand of 50,000 Newcastle fans wanting the team to do well and singling out every performance? Some players can cope, some players can't cope. But from the 2 games that we have seen from that Targett, I've been very, very impressed. But just keep it going, and tick it off, and see if we can get more clean sheets and more good performances out of them, because there is that option at the end of the season, rumoured to be around in the region of £20 million, which I think is probably the going rate. But let's just say I would rather just wait until the end of the season and see if he's still as consistent as we've seen so far.
Yeah, that second half.
The advantage of Targett was that he wasn't coming in cold like Danny Rose was. That Targett was playing first team football for Villa for the past 2.5 years, up until very recently, till they obviously beat us to the signature of Luca Dean. So it's not like he's been sat on the bench waiting for an opportunity for 6 months. He's been playing first team Premier League football for a good while now, and you can see that's a huge advantage. I maintain I'm not ready to give up on Jamal Lewis, but I was with you, Lee. I wasn't keen on the transfer when it happened, but fair play. Hope the form continues. But if you're going to stay up, the games that we've just had are the games that you should be aiming to take points from, and we have, thankfully. So.
Second half, he was right in front of me because I was in the lower end of the Eden Stadium, and he's sensational. The defensive the display was class, absolutely class. You talk about bench, the captain. I wanted to bring this up because I said to Johnny the other week, you won't drop his captain. He didn't, but now he has, Johnny. He's dropped his captain. Does he face a struggle to get in that starting lineup now?
He does. He does. If Dan Burn and Fabian Schär stay fit and perform the way they have done. I've just done a video with another channel, and this is one of the topics is Jamal Lascelles. And me and Sam and the three of us have had conversations on our own chat about Jamal Lascelles. I don't think Jamal Lascelles is an Eddie Howe type of centre half, in my opinion. I just think he prefers players that are a lot more comfortable on the ball. And if you look at Fabian Schär, look at Jamal Lewis, is going to say Dan Burn, especially in the first half. The amount of times they're just passing it one to each other, and they look so comfortable. You didn't feel like nervous at all. It was just nice to see that we had a little bit of possession. I sometimes call it pointless possession as well, to caveat that, because West Ham weren't bothering to go and press them. They were just thinking, well, we'll let you play it there, until you get to maybe the halfway line. But no, it was nice to see. There's no doubt in that Jamal Lascelles has had a poor couple of years on the whole. There's been the odd performance, but the last couple of years, we haven't had a stellar season from Jamal Lascelles, in my opinion. I think if Jamal Lascelles wants to be considered as something in terms of Newcastle United going forward in the future, I think his performance has to improve tenfold. Can he do that at the stage of his career that he is at? I don't think he can. But for the short term, he's still important, because if someone does get a knock, he'd probably be the next central defender back in. I think he's past Federico Fernandez. I think the fact he's captain of the club as well, a bit of the romantic side of things. But at the end of the season, if Newcastle do stay up, he could be fourth choice centre half easily if Newcastle buy a couple of key central defenders. But in terms of this season, if Dan Burn and Fabian Schär keep on playing the way they are and stay fit from now at the end of the season, can't see him coming back in again. It's difficult because of Dan Burn and Fabian Schär have only played 2 games together and they've only conceded 1 goal. So again, let's just see what we're like in the next 3 or 4 games, and if them 2 are playing well. But we'll just have to take it as it comes.
Yeah, I hope it gives him the kick up the arse, because Rafa did it on the opening day against Spurs, and he had to come on at half time, didn't he? And he hasn't really been dropped since. So maybe a spell out. Maybe he's book his own ideas up, because his form's been erratic. So hopefully for the club that he performs better. But I want to talk about someone who is performing before we talk about Fabian Schär and the contract situation coming up shortly. This is great to see Elliot Anderson, who we've been shouting on for over 12 months. If he's not going to play for Newcastle, he needs to get out on loan. Scored his first professional goal. He started off life at Bristol Rovers. I'm always worried, Sam, that youngsters who go out on loan don't really kick it off. And it seems, fingers crossed, he's been there a couple of weeks now, 2-3 weeks. He started off really well, hasn't he? Do you think League Two is a good level for him?
Which should be, if he has the promise that we think he has. To be honest, it's just so nice to see a kid from Newcastle go out on loan and actually get games consistently, and is thriving. The Bristol Rovers fans, from what I've seen on social media, absolutely love him. He's absolutely tearing it up for them. That they think he's brilliant. So that comes as no real surprise. It's nice as well that he gave a bit of a shout out to Shola Amiobi, loan coordinator at the club, who's in constant contact with him. So that's fantastic. It's just nice to see, players can get minutes in the lower leagues, because the loan system's invaluable for guys like that. Even Harry Kane had some lower league loans in his time, and look at him now. This is what it's for. So I'm not saying Elliot Anderson's the next Harry Kane either. Before you all get
Harry Kane had loads, didn't he? So did Andrew Townsend.
Yeah, exactly. So it's great to see him get minutes and perform well, because how many times can we name players who have gone out on loan and just rotted on the bench in League One, and they may as well have been playing for our under-23s?
Yeah, there's several with Elliot Anderson, but yeah, I'll do a video on NFTV Extra shortly regarding all the under-23s. But I want to move on to something a little bit funny, Johnny. I'll say Max, what is it about? Just loves getting in Newcastle gear and just trains and works out.
It's amazing. I've seen. It's not just Alan Saint-Maximin. I've seen other people do it, where they go to gyms and work out the videos and all that. So that was
can it be that comfortable though? Surely, can it be that comfortable?
Well, as you know, as an avid gym goer as I am, but in all seriousness, no, I like the fact he does it. It's a little bit different, isn't it? You don't see it. It seems that you don't see many football players do it at the best of times. Never mind Newcastle players. So obviously he's desperate to get back in the squad after his injury. I think he might be on the bench this weekend. I think there's rumours that he could be available this weekend. Maybe we'll see. He seems to be okay.
I think it depends on Fraser. Fraser's picked up a knock, so I think that would depend on him.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. I think Ryan Fraser's run himself to the ground almost a little bit in the last few games. He's put so much effort in for the team. I'm not surprised by that. Hopefully, Ryan Fraser is okay. If he's not,
we've always said about Ryan Fraser, he needs a run of games, and he's now got. He's played 10 on the bounce
in his correct position as well.
Exactly. And now he looks great. It's amazing.
And now I still think he needs to chip in with more assists and more goals, but he's played half a dozen up to a dozen games, 6 to 12 games on the spin, starting as well. And now he looks like a talent. And now there's just probably a little bit more I want from him, but the signs there that there's the player we got from Bournemouth.
Yeah, 100%. And I said I still think he's a little bit underrated, because Newcastle haven't seen him in that position properly. We've seen him a little bit in the first season that was at Newcastle, but then got a bit of an injury that he just couldn't seem to shake off. I think my issue is, if Ryan Fraser has got a little bit of a knock, I'd say risk him. I wouldn't play him against Brentford just in case he's out for then 4 to 6 weeks, because if you then have him out and ASM out, what do you do? Do you put Bruno in midfield and push Joe Linton further forward? Do you push Joe Willock further forward? There was a lot of and ahhing over Jacob Murphy's performance on Twitter, and I know some people thought he was actually pretty good. I didn't think he was as good as what people make out. I thought he got to a stage. He got to a stage, and then it was just, oh, for fuck's sake. I think going forward, in my particular opinion, he's not Premier League level, in my opinion. I think his final ball needs to be so much better. He should be contributing with more goals. I know he's hit the post in these last 3 games, bar the West Ham game, but I just don't think he's Premier League level. I think he's a very good Championship player, will do very well for you if you're trying to get out of the Championship. But in terms of Premier League, I just don't think he's good enough. But as a stopgap for 1-2 games, maybe he'll do the job against the Brentford. Probably he's going to start if ASM and Fraser are doubts. I thought he had the beating of Fredericks, because Frederick was on a yellow card, because Willock did a fantastic run. He was. Well, he got the yellow card. He had to, but Ben Johnson who came on, I thought was comfortable against Jacob Murphy, which Jacob Murphy really should have had the better of him.
But I can see why he was selected over Miggy Almiron.
Oh, of course.
Fordy was bottled coming to meet me on Sunday, didn't you, Fordy? Very disappointed in you. I can't believe you've got the cheek to call Sam out when you didn't even show up to him on Fordy.
Roots.
Yeah, because his
team's your real
Brentford.
name.
Is his team Brentford? I'm sure his team's Brentford, isn't it?
No, it's Arsenal. Yeah, Arsenal.
I've got it's
any London club.
Any QPR is another one.
Last week, Brentford this week, isn't it? Yeah.
QPR, you know, the lad doesn't get a game anymore. Sort yourself out. He's going to WhatsApp with me in an hour. But yeah, we'll move on. I wanted to bring up this story. There's a few of them in there. Fabian Schär, Shelvey, Longstaff, and Dummett could all be signing contracts. Would you, Sam, give them all four of them a new deal?
I don't know. I've got to be honest. A couple of the names in there did surprise me. I mean, Schär's out of contract at the end of the season. So is Dummett and Sean Longstaff. So there's 3 out of your 4. Shelvey's obviously been a revelation, but I don't know. It's.
I don't think you need to worry about Shelvey just yet.
No,
I think he's settled.
I've seen AC Milan were kind of sniffing around Fabian Schär, which again would kind of, if they got Schär, then in theory that would leave a clear path for us to have another crack at Sven Botman in the summer. Schär's been playing very well lately. Whoever said he can't play in a back four, they're looking pretty silly now, which means pretty much every Newcastle fan.
Every fucker.
Yeah. So, especially Leeds, he was absolutely immense. Do you feel, though, I'll throw it back to you, Steve, do you feel with Schär playing in a back four that you kind of almost grimace at the fact that there just still is maybe an error in there somewhere with him?
I think so, yeah. But I would get him to sign at least another year, 2. I think Newcastle will strengthen there. I think Shelvey, you don't have to worry about too much. Dummett, I'll probably go year by year basis now. He's 29, is he 30? He's got to be somewhere about that age now. Keep giving him a year, because he's a good backup. I feel Sean Longstaff, I'll just let him go. I just don't think there's no, just not for me. For me. I know he's local and all that, but you know, we've got Bruno Gomes coming in.
But how can you say you'd let Sean Longstaff go and then keep Paul Dummett?
Because I think we've always
Dummett out of the 4 for me it would be the one I let go, and I'm very sensitive to the fact that
because I think Dummett can do 2 positions, and now he's probably going to play 20 games a season. Where left back and centre back you can, but I think with centre midfield, you've got the 3 in there now. You've got Bruno.
Would we have beaten Leeds if Dummett played 90 minutes?
No, because he's ripped apart. No, Manquillo can fill in there. I think Dummett, for me, is a squad player. I would. Just for another year.
Like I said, I'm sensitive to the fact that I don't want to just throw these players that have stuck with us through thick and thin under the bus.
I just don't think Sean Longstaff's a Premier League player.
They're not a charity, though.
I know. I get that. I get that. So Dummett can't get up and down as a left-back anymore. And again, I like Dummett. I like him as a left centre-back. But he can't play left back anymore. He doesn't have the legs. He can't get up and down. I made that point. We don't beat Leeds. We don't win that Leeds game if he plays 90 minutes. We don't, because he couldn't get forward. He was too busy with Rafinha. I don't know.
Manquillo did change it. Manquillo did change. I think from the 4, like if I'm putting my 50 pence in with those 4 players, I'm as much as I'd like Sean Longstaff to stay at Newcastle, I'm struggling to see where he would play and where he would be down the pecking order. And plus, it would be easy enough to get rid of him because he's out of contract. Matty Longstaff is out of contract at the end of the year. I know it's a different conversation, that one.
No, he's got another year.
Yeah, he's got another year.
Has he got another year, has he? Has he got another year? Well, I thought he was... He's got
made to sign 1 year.
Sorry, if he's got a year. Of course he was, yes. The only issue that I have with the other 3 in particular is that they're going to be, say the majority of us Newcastle fans want those 3 players to stay, they might be thinking, well, hold on, we've got new owners now. what can I ask for? Now they're going to be. It might be probably different than it would have been 6 months ago, 8 months ago. I know. Not going to ask for the world, and some of them are in a situation where they're of a certain age, but they might think, well, let's try and get a few more quid, etc., as well. But Fabian Schär for me stays. He does stay. I think I'd give him a 2-year deal. I'll give him a 2-year deal. Nothing more. If he at least one more year, just to cover more than anything else. John Joe Shelby, I wouldn't bother touching. I think he's still got another year. I think he signed a 3-year deal just before COVID hit. So if he's out of contract, if he's out, it was because it's the same as Richie, wasn't it? So if he's not out of contract until June 2023, I don't see again a rush into giving him a new contract just in case Newcastle do stay up. And Paul Dummett's a tricky one again. When you romantic side of things, again, you would say, "I'll be good to keep him on." But again, the question you've got to look at Newcastle as going to be trying to be serious contenders in the future to do fantastic stuff. Can Paul Dummett be someone that we can rely on in the long term? I don't think so. I probably would release him. I don't think I would give him a new deal. But fantastic servant for the football club. But I think his level is probably Premier League, but probably bottom end Premier League, and that's just not where Newcastle want to be if they stay up this season.
Well, I will say though, we do have to fill a criteria.
Schär's the only one that's cut and dry.
Yeah, I think, and you've also got fill a criteria in the 25-man squad. You've got to have a certain amount of British players in there as well, so that could come into a factor as well. I think, is it?
We got Targett. You got potentially Targett.
I don't think that's an issue.
I think is it 14? You've got to have homegrown. I think it's something like someone tells me. I thought it was 8 English from the academy or something, but I thought it was 14.
I don't think that would be an issue. But you got to remember, at the end of the season, players like Fernandez, he'll be gone. Richie will probably go.
Homegrown. Fernandez is class as homegrown now because he's been in England for how many years?
Well, Chris Wood would be as well, wouldn't he? So
yeah,
that homegrown thing's a load of tosh anyway. But yeah, Fernandez will be gone at the end of the season. I mean, I would probably let Dummett go as well. But if he stays, I'm not disappointed.
Right. It'll be shown. We'll move on. We'll move on to the next bit. Sam, you wanted to bring this up because it was all over the socials, and unfortunately we lost Blackie, which is his nickname, Steve Black, who has worked with Newcastle United. He's worked with the Falcons. He's even worked. He's had a spell at the Magpies as well, hasn't he? I think he's had a spell at the Magpies. He's been up and down, worked rugby and motivational coach. Been heavily missed. Obviously, a lot of players, ex-players of Newcastle have talked about. Even Jose Perez has as well. Freddie Woodman. A lot of people coming out saying what a great guy he was. Joey Barton, and so on and so on. How much of a miss will he be?
Huge to sport, not just football, not just Newcastle, not just footballers. Huge to sport. Really, really sad. Steve Black, yeah, as you can see there, worked a few times for Newcastle under the Entertainers era, and he came back under Steve McLaren as well. Key part in the career of Johnny Wilkinson, Rugby World Cup winner. Joey Barton put up a fantastic video on his Instagram last night about the work he brought him into Fleetwood. The amount of tributes from the world of sport that have come in for Steve Black has been astronomical, which just shows you the measure of the man. So really, really sad news, and obviously thoughts with his friends and family.
Yeah, loads of actual people come out. So rest in peace, Steve Black. And he was in the Entertainers era as well, which you don't really see him too much on camera. He's more the guy behind the scenes who you probably don't hear much of him. So yeah, rest in peace. Some lovely messages across social medias about him. The video title I want to move on to next because it's a video title. It's our man, Johnny's best pal, Fabrizio Romano. It's time to go. Dan Ashworth, that was more like Mario, wasn't it? Dan Ashworth will be appointed as Newcastle technical director. He's going to sign a 4-year deal to help rebuild process. He's already focused on potential moves and targets for next season. Johnny, he's your pal. How much do you believe him?
Oh, I believe him 100%. There's no doubts on this one. No, look, I think it's common knowledge that Dan Ashworth's going to be obviously the next technical director of Newcastle. I don't think Fabrizio Romano had to confirm it. I think everybody knew it, but what a coup for Newcastle. I said this when we were linked with him, and there was rumours going around that Brighton were resigned to losing him to a Premier League club, and it is fantastic news. Really, really is. People are saying, could you imagine Dan Ashworth with money? Like, he's a man that has a vision. And I actually watched a video, I think it was on BT, with him at Brighton, and it was fascinating.
Yeah.
Fascinating. Just on his role, not necessarily the football club and everything else. It's just that what he actually does in his role at a club. It could be any club, but obviously he's at Brighton at the minute. And I think he could be really, really key for what Newcastle do in the future. And, he's been at England, he's been at West Brom, he's been at Brighton, and now he's getting that chance to move to in terms of club level, a big football club and a big project with big money. Let's see how well he does. And the fact that he'll probably have so many contacts in so many different parts of the world could only help Newcastle. But I'm more interested in seeing what he's going to do in terms of the women's team, the under-23s, the youth development of the football club. Who will he try to bring in terms of academy coaches? I want to see those sort of plans. I'd like to see him with NUFC TV when he does get announced. I think he's on gardening leave, so it'll probably be at least 28, 30 days before.
Gardening in this
leave.
Weather.
Exactly, but still, I'd like to see NUFC TV do a sit-down interview with him. I'd like to see him do a sit-down interview with him and just say, look, what are you going to do when you come into Newcastle? What's the primary target of the football club? Just so we can, a bit what Amanda Staveley did with the club's YouTube channel, because I think it would be really, really interesting. And again, other massive clubs probably should have looked at him. Like Man United could do with him. Let's be honest, Man United could really do with him. There's an argument that maybe even Arsenal could do with someone like him, but Newcastle have got to count themselves very lucky.
Yeah, you talked about just before there, Sam, about some of the things he's done. He was even at Peterborough when he had the likes of Matty Etherington coming through and Simon Davis, bringing in young talent as well. Where do you think the strengths will be? Will he just focus on one thing at a time, or will it be a whole collective overall? Will he look at youth first? What's his main goal first?
Well, it's everything. He's that link between the ownership and the day-to-day running of a professional football club. So it's everything. Like Amanda and Murdad said when the consortium arrived, they're not here to play second fiddle, and they want to, kind of, whether that be women's team, training facilities, youth academies. Obviously, the first team is priority with everything. So, it's a big job that he's got. A big task, because whilst the new ownership, I think, have done very well, and they got criticised a little bit for not rushing in and getting someone in for January, but the way the January business went, and they've been able to take their time to make this appointment. It's a very measured appointment. It's a very sensible appointment, and it's just, you can't criticise it one bit or anything that they've done, the new ownership, since they've come in, really.
Because Nick Hammond would have had a lot of work to do in the January.
Yes, correct. But I think he has left though now, hasn't he? And I think that his Dan Ashworth's garden will be complete just in time for the summer. So, he's on gardening leave, isn't he?
I've got a conspiracy theory. I think Dan Ashworth's first official day will be the 7th of March.
What, after we've played Brighton at home?
Yeah, I've just got a funny feeling we'll just get that game out the way, and then we'll see Dan Ashworth potentially. But
a bit of a shithouse for announcing him on the pitch for that game, wouldn't it?
Imagine.
I think both clubs
comes out wearing a Brighton shirt, then takes it off to reveal a Newcastle one. Have that.
with Dan Bird.
With Dan Bird.
Do you remember? I don't know if you use it, Sam. It's Johnny. You'll not remember WCW. I know I'm going completely left field here, but do you remember NWO?
Well, the wrestling thing.
Yeah. Do you remember NWO, Hulk Hogan, and all of them?
Right. Okay.
Kevin Hall. That's what Sting did. Sting was like both the Wolfpack, NWO. I don't know why I'm telling you this.
Yeah, but that's NWO.
Sting was a musician.
Of course, it's real.
Newcastle fan as well, Sting.
How dare you say WCW was not real? My heart. Well, basically, Sting come out wearing NWO.
The musician.
No, man, the wrestler, woo, and all that, and he took it
okay, off. He came out and did a really emotional version of Every Breath You Take.
And Wolfpack, yeah. Anyways, the kids will I say kids won't remember that. People my age, behave yourself, Johnny. Who is he?
I'm not saying anything.
Yeah. He's in what's he in? He's in the new American wrestling thing now. He's proper old now.
I think that was on about Dan Ashworth, not Sting.
Oh, I don't know if he's on about the singer.
Yeah, Dan Ashworth came out and started saying woo and all that.
And then did a fantastic version of Every Breath You Take.
There you go. From Newcastle.
That was an absolute banger as well, that song.
Yeah.
You're the karaoke man.
Yeah, we've seen that, Johnny. Maybe we should do a special on extra for that. Dan Ashworth, if you talked about the women's side of things as well, wouldn't it be great if he came in and just, said, you know what, we're going to have a
new signing today.
Yeah, new signing today. I haven't got it. We're not covering it, but it is on the socials. There you go. Saints has said he was on about Dan. Well, he's basically worked at West Brom. The England setup, you talk about all the youth sides. Freddie Woodman's won when he was in technical director. The World Cup under 20s, he won the Euros under 17s. The women's went third in the World Cup. So he's done wonderful things with England. Obviously, we're talking about English development for years, not coming through, and now we're seeing loads of teams. So he's done fantastic stuff at Brighton. Look at some of their signings as well. Bargain signings from abroad. Even their latest one, I think you like him, Johnny Cucurella at left back is another one.
Yeah, I do.
Just randomly found, and you talk about the Dan Burns, another one they got from out the blue. The goalkeeper Sanchez. There's tons you probably go through. The Brighton's recruitment's been brilliant for their budget. But I would love to see WSL's side for me to see the lasses because Durham have got one. Why can't Newcastle have one? Just takes a little bit of money. We've got the money, and it doesn't hit with financial fair play. So,
Ella Wilson is the new signing today for Newcastle United women. England under 16.
Well, most of them, half of them are, aren't they? Because they come across.
I'm just saying this is a former Macklin. Actually, just a quick one on Sunderland. Obviously, just want to say, obviously, if there's a fan, there's been a medical emergency at the same light for tonight, and obviously, doesn't matter if you support Newcastle or Sunderland. Obviously, thoughts to that fan. Hopefully, everybody's all right on that one. But Steve Bruce's West Brom's getting beat as well.
Again,
grass isn't greener.
Other garden shows are available. We'll move on from Dan Ashworth. Obviously, that's the main headline of the last few days, that Romano said it's a done deal. We're just waiting for official news. It's probably already done behind the scenes. Tongue-in-cheek, this one, because the under-23s absolutely got battered. Absolutely battered off the league leaders last night by Fulham, who were running away in the Premier League too. But an interesting story come out. Luke Harris, who bagged a hat-trick within the first 10 minutes. It's actually a Newcastle fan. Liam only found that out. I said, Liam, if you don't check with socials, it's on with socials, man. But Luke Harris bagged a hat-trick, plays for Fulham. He's a Newcastle fan. And bless him, John Sinclair's had a bit of a Mickey took out of him as well, bless him, because he thought he played for Newcastle. But not everyone's a genius at an 23 level, who's who. But yeah, it's a funny story that's come out. And there we go. I just thought I'd bring that up. Maybe we can sign him. Who knows? The last story of the night, it kind of falls back to centre-backs like Sven Botman, Nicolas Soule, Lothar Matthäus, fantastic defensive midfielder on his day. But it's just before my time, Johnny, before you say. He did play in Euro 2000, I think, and he was absolutely horrendous. I don't know if Sam, you remember that?
By then, hadn't he? But he's quality back in his prime. He was absolutely superb player.
I think it was 40 or something in the Euro 2000 when Germany flapped massively. But anyways, he's gone out to say about Nicolas Soule, who's obviously gone to join Dortmund. Easy for me to say. He's had an offer from Newcastle where he could have earned twice as much. He's looking for a sporting challenge and a buy-in. He no longer felt valued in recent years.
He's looking for a sporting challenge, so he's gone to Dortmund.
I think he's just too worried about relegation. And he was attacked because of his weight, and no one protected him. So it sounds like he was, Matthias is saying there's been a bit of bullying going on. Wouldn't be the first time by Minuteman, to be honest with you. But it comes back to that centre-back problem. Obviously, we've got Dan Burn in, but Sully was definitely, from what Matthias is saying, that we were going to go in for him. And he's not the only one. And Sam, will come to you with this. You talk about Nicholas Sully heavily linked. You talk about Diego Carlos, Sven Botman. Obviously, Sully's got his move. Do you expect us to go back in for Carlos because he's linked last week once again?
Possibly. I would always think that Sven Botman was the first choice. So I'm expecting a move. I think we'll be back in for Botman. I don't think he was having a particularly great game.
Yeah, about the financial restraint.
Yeah, but we already knew they were in a financial mess, but they wanted to kind of wait it out till the end of the season, which, isn't looking overly clever now. But I fully expect us to go back in for Botman, and we'll probably end up with him for cheaper than what we bid in January. So,
well, he said, didn't he? He said just after the window closed that he could have went. He would have liked to went, but he's wants to play Champions League football for the time being.
Well, they'll be out in a couple of weeks after the second leg against Chelsea, won't they? So that was worth it, wasn't it? It'd be very interesting to see how he performs actually between now and the end of the season. Because if his head's gone and his head's been turned by a move, players can lose their form. But I fully expect us to go back in for Botman at the end of the season. Carlos, I'm not too sure. Maybe. I don't know. I certainly wouldn't be against the idea by any stretch.
Do you think we're going from Johnny, or is Carlos back on the horizon? Or someone brand new?
I would imagine they'll be looking all over, to be honest. I don't disagree with what Sam said about Botman. I think because Botman's younger, I think they'll go, and if they know that they'll probably sell him for cheaper. This is what we said on deadline day, with Botman, was that as much as we'd like him now, they might be able to get him for €10 million cheaper in the summer. If they're willing to take that hit because they want him to play Champions League football or play the rest of the Champions League run. Obviously, they're playing Chelsea. It's 1-0 Chelsea. So let's just say Chelsea get through. It's only 2 games, but if they've got aspirations of trying to get back in the Champions League or at least get back into Europe, Botman being in their squad probably helps them in that respect. And if they need to be at least in Europe for money reasons, then they're going to keep Botman. I know they would have had money from us anyway. So it's a difficult one, but I'll be happy with Botman. Diego Carlos, he's a little bit older, but could he do a job for a few years? Yes. But again, will Newcastle go, well, you kind of missed the opportunity for that. But there'll be other defenders as well. I'm sure Eddie Howe will have a small say. I don't think he'll have the final decision, but I think he'll have a small say of it in terms of a centre half you'd like. But again, it depends who Newcastle can get rid of as well, because Fernandes will not get offered a new deal, of course. Lascelles won't leave Newcastle because of his wages. But if he was to go out on loan, maybe, if they thought he was service to requirements, then potentially you've got to burn and share. And maybe
you've got a World Cup as well. You've got a World Cup at the end of the year as well.
Exactly, but it's. I think a lot of the players. It's a funny one because a lot of players will want to play football. They need to play football 3 or 4 months of solid football to get into their World Cup squads of whoever they're playing for. So players will be doing all they can in the summer to get big moves, and that might benefit clubs like Newcastle. But it just depends.
I think that's why Targett's moved on loan.
A little bit, but the thing is, who's in front of Targett right now? Chilwell, Luke Shaw. I know Luke Shaw's not playing brilliantly, but just because of the teams that they play for, especially in Luke Shaw's case, he's going to get a game.
He was on the cusp of a call. Rumour had it a while back, wasn't he? So I think he's definitely in the conversation. So I mean, I don't know.
I think the only player who's
guaranteed in the conversation, but would he play?
Yeah, no. I think the only player who's guaranteed to go to the Euros doesn't play is Fabian Schär, because I think he plays for Switzerland regardless whether he's in or out of the Newcastle side. I think the rest, Trippier to some extent, Trippier will play if he's fit, but the right backs are It's one of them. I think Trippier's ahead of Targett for left back for England because his players over there as well.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
I completely forgot about that. But I think Trippier will be fine if he gets back fit from his injury and stays fit for Newcastle.
God, he's good. God, he's good.
Southgate likes him. Southgate likes a Newcastle player.
Southgate likes him. I love him.
Hasn't he been to 2 games now, Southgate, since we've bought? It's been 2.
Yeah. I suppose it was a Leeds game, wasn't he?
He was at Leeds and he was at a home game recently, wasn't he?
The Everton game, because Amanda and Murdad were giving it some when we scored, and then Southgate's just got to sit there.
I didn't know what to do. Fist bump, no.
She took a leaf out of my book. I love that. You go for the win at rock, paper, scissors every time. Paper covers stone. That's all of it. That's the end of it.
It doesn't in this weather. It just flies off at the minute. Stick your heat at the window, your heat comes flying off. John's asked a question there. Dubravka, Targett, Burnshire, Kraft? No. I'm assuming if he means that the injuries. Bruno, Shelby, Willock, ESM, Joe Linton, Fraser. Thoughts? I'm presuming he means this weekend.
Joe Linton for me has to stay in midfield. Yeah. I don't personally like him in those 3 attacking positions. I think he has to stay in midfield. But I know he's playing fantastically well, and I wouldn't drop him. But the conversation we had about Shelby, Willock, and Joe Linton, and about who would be a threat the most in terms of Bruno coming in, possibly Joe Linton. Maybe because the only reason why I say that, it's not my
making you look stupid because you would have sold him for 10 million last summer.
Some people would have sold him for 5 million. But no, I genuinely, I think the reason why I say that, because I think Willock gives you something that other players doesn't give in that position. He can get goals from midfield. I don't think we've necessarily got that in terms of other options at Newcastle. And I think Shelby's so instrumental into Eddie Howe's style of play that I don't think he would drop him at all. And then that leaves Joe Linton. I know he's been fantastic. I'm not taking that away. But I think if people want to see Bruno win, I think he could be at risk. But again, I wouldn't drop any of the 3. I wouldn't drop Big Joe, wouldn't drop Joe Willock, and I wouldn't drop John Joe. So let's see what happens.
There is one player, although we are playing well, do you think Chris Wood's getting too much stick, Sam?
Yeah, I think he is getting too much stick. It's not like, I mean, whilst we're on Joe Linton, when he was playing up front all alone, remember how isolated he was and we just weren't getting up the pitch and we just couldn't, it'd be 10 men behind the ball. Joe Linton would stay up there completely isolated. No one could find him. And then that was that. We were back to square one. It's not like that with Chris Wood. He can hold the ball up. He can bring other people into play. He doesn't look as isolated. He does at times, but that kind of goes with the territory, I'm afraid, because he's not all that quick. But I think he's had a solid start. He just needs that goal to get.
He's winning all aerial duels. He's top of the list
for the past 3 weeks. Yeah, so he just needs to get the monkey off the back and just get that goal. But I mean, he's only really missed one great chance for me, and that was that header against was it Villa or Everton? Forgive me, I can't remember.
But that was Everton where he should have scored.
Yeah, thank you.
And the time where he should have played in Fraser, that's probably my only criticism.
Yeah,
I don't blame him for that. I don't blame him for that at all.
No, I don't blame him for that either.
No, if you're a striker 20 yards out on goal, I know the pass is there. But the fact that he hasn't scored for Newcastle yet, he's got a clear shot on goal. I know it went nearly into the.
Nearly had a penalty as well until it was clawed back.
Yeah, but I like that. I liked it. The good thing was though, as soon as that penalty was awarded, grabbed the ball and was waiting for it, and was like, he had a pair of bollocks on him. Basically, he just said, "Look, I know I haven't scored for Newcastle yet, but I want to take this penalty. I want to get this monkey off my back." So I don't blame him at all from that. But yeah, I think the more games he doesn't score, people will ask questions.
It's going to become a thing again, isn't it? Like it did with Almiron.
And I think is the best to play now is when, because I've said this a couple of weeks ago, ESM and Wood, this just, I don't know, but with ESM not being in the side, this is a great time for Wood to try and link up with Fraser, get some more crosses in, or the midfield.
I think that's why Murphy got the nod over Almiron, because he's a better crosser than Almiron.
I'm going to start Almiron. I'll be there. Not for me.
Just the thing with with Murphy. I agree that was the right decision on Saturday, but his crossing had to be better for Chris Wood. Chris Wood won 11 duels on Saturday, and people are going to have to start supporting Chris Wood, even if he hasn't scored or not, because Callum Wilson ain't coming back till at least after the international break at the very earliest. So it looks like probably early April before you see Callum Wilson, and he ain't going to start straight away. He's going to come off from the bench. So if I'm a betting man, I'll be looking at the Wolves and Leicester home games as those games going. That's probably when you're going to be seeing Callum Wilson potentially at the earliest. But
I like the fact
you've got to try and give him a bit of a chance.
I like the fact that they mixed the play up at West Ham. I mentioned this on the last word. They went long occasionally as well. They went deliberately long to mix it up, and they went short as well to go out wide. I like that Eddie Howe's seen that he can mix it up. I just think with Wood, he's not going to be your Wilson where he stretches the defence. He needs service. If he's going to hold the ball up, great. But then when he holds the ball up, Wood's got to get his arse back in the box, and Newcastle have got to get it in. So you've got to just play.
The midfield need to get up quicker to support him. That's the only kind of one thing that I was nitpicking. I said it to you on Johnny when I nipped on at half time on the watch along. There was only one minor criticism of the midfield on Saturday, and that was just getting up quicker to support.
I think Willock did it. I think Willock was the only one.
Yeah,
it was really good.
That's where I think Shelby's vulnerable for Bruno, in my opinion. But again, it's a minor criticism.
Because we're 6 unbeaten, baby. 7 if you include the friendly. So we are going to do a preview for the Brentford game.
You're treating that friendly like a World Cup final.
I would beat Saudi Arabia's best team, 7 unbeaten.
With 10 men.
With 10 men and a rotated side. Because a lot of people didn't play. But yeah. We will I didn't see the game. No, it wasn't televised. I seen the
70-minute game.
Oh, I thought you said something. I seen the Kieran Clark punch. But we will do a preview for Brentford. It might be a single, but we might do a live one. We'll talk about it in the WhatsApp the next day or two. But you mentioned there, Sam. I know you don't want to give too much away, but you mentioned 2 guests. What can you tell the audience? What can't you tell them?
Well, hit that join button and become a member, and you'll find out. But there'll be certainly one Greenwood and Mulliner show this week, and I don't know when you want to put the other one out. We shall see. But yeah, it's, we've got some very very good guests coming up. Put it that way.
We do have some guests, and Carl's been battering it over on NFTV Extra, doing some weird fun videos. If you want to see them, he's been reacting to a lot of stuff that happens online. So if you have a look at Ever's sister channel, NFTV Extra, I'll get a under 23 update at the end of the month because it's only 28 days in February. So next week I'll do
When's Pancake Day? That's my favourite day of the year.
Tuesday, I think, isn't it?
Is it this coming Tuesday?
It's normally 2 weeks after Valentine's Day, isn't it?
Oh, I thought, mate,
I thought it was only February.
Day a long time ago.
It isn't. It is in February. It is. But anyway,
boys.
Mother's Day first, man. We're gonna get past that yet. Put it back to right. Anyways, we're coming up towards the hour. Thank you very much for everybody who's tuned in. Thank you for your comments. Smash the like if you're watching the rerun. Smash the smash the like on there. Or
Sam like my fire.
I knew you were gonna sing that.
I'll be watching on demand, as Sam would say. Please smash the like. And we've got loads of videos on both our channels, and keep up to date with all of the socials. From myself, from Sam and Johnny, we'll see you later, everyone.